Is LinkedIn dead? Does it suck? Because this is all I'm hearing at the moment. Everyone's saying LinkedIn sucks. LinkedIn is not what it used to be. It's not working anymore. Why can't I get the reach? Right? And what I want to do is debunk that today. And I want to go through, I have a whole lot of paper here, and it's a full masterclass on LinkedIn posting for 2025. Before I get into that, I just want to prove to you that it is not dead, okay? And I've actually just before this episode, I've gone on to my LinkedIn and gone, okay, what are the last couple of posts I've done? How have they performed? And I'm looking at this one here, 16,000 impressions. I'm looking at this one here, 36,000 impressions. And that's just the last couple of weeks. So that's not dead. And before you think, oh, you're an influencer or whatever, you've got a big reach, let's just take Aaron here, who is a great recruiter, not known for his social media or anything like that, not a public face. 68,000 impressions, 173,000 impressions. We have cracked the code, and what I want to give you today is that code, because I really think the world is full of abundance. I don't care if you get in there and crack it too, because it won't matter. We're all here to win, right? So before you get your paper out and your pen out, don't worry about it. This playbook, I've got my notes all over it. I am going to make available to you guys for free. That's it. I just want to help. And so let's get stuck into it. Now, the first thing I want you to really shift your mind on is, what are we measuring? Okay, so gone are the days where likes and comments are what we're chasing. They are what we call vanity metrics. They make us feel good because we've been trained over the last decade that likes and comments is engagement, and that's what we're trying to get. And it's what the world can see as well. Well, look how many people are commenting and liking on my posts. Now, don't get me wrong, it feels great, but that's about all it is. I've got proof, even in some of these ones, where the likes, or looking through some of my posts, my likes and comments are high, but my impressions are really low. And what we really want to chase as a recruiter or anyone in sales, where you're trying to get brand awareness, where you're trying to make yourself known to your network so that when you pick up the phone or when you reach out to them, they know who you are. We want impressions. We want your posts to go as far and as wide as possible so that as many people in your niche, in your sector, see your stuff day in, day out. And when that happens, and I can tell you this happens to me, I'll email people and they go, oh, I've seen all your posts. Let's have a chat. They're excited to hear from me. So that's the goal. So first thing is, what are we measuring? We're measuring impressions. Comments and likes will follow. They will follow. And that'll stroke your ego if you need that. But that's really important for me to note here, because that really then feeds into what is happening underneath the hood with LinkedIn and their algorithm, okay? There's a lot of stuff here that you're going to know and what you're not going to know, but the game has changed this year, and it's pretty interesting. So let's just get stuck into it. Look, if I just summarize what's happened with LinkedIn at the moment, and I'll read this verbatim because I think it does it justice. LinkedIn's feed is now driven by large-scale neural ranking systems, okay? You don't need to know what that means, but essentially what we're looking at is quality conversation, topical relevance, and dwell time. They are the strongest levers for organic growth that we can see, and we will get into that in this thing. So interestingly, right, so mid 2025, there was, they say here in June, July, ranking test briefly resurfaced. Older posts. So we remember seeing all these posts from like 2-3 weeks prior, a month ago. Why am I seeing all this old shit? They dialed that right up to see if it was relevant, but it was old, would it be good for the algorithm? They got so much pushback that they've dialed that right back now. So we're not seeing as much of that older post stuff now, so which is telling us that you need to have fresh content daily, okay? So what is LinkedIn? So the first thing we're going to go through, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 8 points to get through, okay? I might even split this one up into 2 episodes. 1, what is LinkedIn saying is the feed is in 2025? Okay, so engagement time, dwell time. We talked about this. Like, how long do people hover on your post? So is your content engaging enough where they look at it and make people stop and think, right? Used to call them thumb stoppers, but they're looking for dwell time. Okay. They've definitely talked about this. It's a big ranking signal for LinkedIn. Has been since 2020, but it seems to be ramping up, right? Recency versus relevance. And again, they've rolled that back in terms of the older posts, and they're looking for now more relevance and more fresher content. And then the last thing here is what they're talking about is that I think a mixture is really key here. It's not even just about singular posts. It's about the whole posting cycle that you have. So there is an emphasis on short native videos, okay, alongside documents and carousels. So that's good hang time, and obviously text. Okay. So what are experts saying about 2025? So that was what LinkedIn's saying. That's what they're saying. But like, what are the actual users? You and I, your average Joe, influencer, what are they saying? So reach does feel tighter, you know. Quality is absolutely at the crux of this. And I'm not opposed to this, right? I've talked about AI ruining social media because there's so much an echo chamber happening right now with AI just regurgitating the same old hash shit. And what I think LinkedIn is trying to achieve here is quality, human, truth, whatever, engagement, because that means it's going to be at the core of it, real, right? Real and authentic. And that's what LinkedIn's always been quite good at. And I think they veered off a little bit when AI came in. It got really noisy and really messy. So I'm very supportive of all these changes because I'm starting to see the quality of LinkedIn come back and conversations come back. And that's what we want, right? We do not want LinkedIn to die. So number 2, what are the expert consensus saying? It reach does feel tighter. Quality is definitely winning. What we're trying to achieve here is that meaningful comments over vanity reactions. Again, that comes back to my first point where we don't need likes. Even like quick comments aren't even that helpful for us. We need 25 plus words sort of responses, and that's going to increase. It's going to sort of signal to the algorithm that this is a meaningful conversation, and it will start showing it to more people. Okay. The other thing that we've noticed here is that employee advocacy and relationships. So like experts, basically saying that employee posts will do better than company pages or corporate pages with organic reach. So that's an obvious one. We've all seen that. Look, the third thing here is, how is the ranking actually working? Okay. So this is broken down to a few things here. So like retrieval, who's going to see it? Who might see this? Okay. So it's going to go, well, this is where your keywording and your posts need to be really clear because it needs to understand, well, who do we dish this up to? Because it's no longer just your network, is it? It's actually broader than that. So if you're putting a post up about recruitment, it needs to be very clear that this is a recruitment-centric post in that first line, because if it's not clear what the message is here, the algorithm does not know who to dish this up to. The other thing it looks at is scoring, like who's most likely going to care about this. Again, if it's for recruiters and they dish it up to recruiters and they don't care about it, then obviously it's not that good. So it definitely like marks you very quickly, like, is this what people want to see? Who's going to see this? Is this what somebody wants to see? And then thirdly, it does an early batch test. So it'll do a little sample. And we know TikTok has done this for a while, whatever, but this is the big one, right? And I've seen a lot of influencers say that if they test their post and they know it's a good post, it's written in a great format, and they know that the topic is hot, they might have just mistimed it. So they'll put it out. If within that first hour it hasn't got any meaningful reach whatsoever, like when you put a post up and then like an hour later it's had 1 like and like 20 people have seen it, take it down. Like 20 people saw it, take it down and repost it at a different time, or change a couple of words and try again, rather than rewriting a whole nother post, because that is the whole early batch test. So the algorithm is looking to go, hey, do we want to scale this up now? Like, it's in that early first hour, are we getting mad interaction here? Are people loving this and chomping it up? They are. Cool. Let's go to the next, right? Let's go to the next batch. So it kind of then releases your post to a wider audience. And so it's kind of, you're in like sort of test mode in that first hour. And so if it hasn't gone well in that first hour, it's not going to go well. The algorithm will say, stall it. No one wants to see this. It's crap. All right. So that's a vital one. So you're going to be quite on top of what you're posting and reviewing how it performs. Look, life cycle and resurfacing, it can pull up older posts if it's relevant, but it's not gonna. It seems that newer content will still be favored over the older stuff, even if it is relevant. If you do have a post that was older and it's kind of on the news cycle all of a sudden, you could do a comment in there to bring it back to life because it might pick it up and go, oh, actually, this is a hot topic. It was talked about 2 weeks ago, but everyone's talking about it now. Let's bring it back into the cycle. Don't think I wouldn't rely on that. I really wouldn't. I'd almost just take it down and post it again. All right, I'm going to have to stop you guys there and end this episode right smack bang middle in the halfway mark. If you want to get part 2 of this episode, it will be out later this week. So make sure you subscribe. Follow us wherever you can so that you do get that alert that this part 2 is up. It ends with an absolute checklist of things you should be doing each week as a recruiter, and it will be on top of this complete understanding that you have of how to make your post go far and wide. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Helps us grow. As always, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in a few days' time for part 2.